Alrighty. Hey guys. Hello everybody. Really excited to do this webinar. Don't mind this light situation. Yeah, today we're going to talk about how do we go viral. I'll be talking about, our experience at Playkit and how we craft videos and craft content strategy that really drives views and more importantly, even drives downloads. So let's get right into it. Oh, someone says no sound. Anybody else having no sound? Or are we good? Okay, people can hear. I'm gonna go with we can hear. Tim, maybe try to turn your volume on? I don't know. Okay, but yeah, here we go. A little bit about me. I have been in this like TikTok UGC world for a couple of years now. It really started almost on accident where I was leading growth at a startup. They didn't have a budget to run a ton of ads or influencers, and we needed to grow for pretty cheap. And basically, what I did, I was like, well, I can make a TikTok video for free. And that's what I did. And very quickly, it turned into our entire content engine. That's what we relied on for the whole year in which I was there. From there, I started to get really sick of posting content myself, and I just wanted to figure out how to scale myself. So I hired creators and I trained them, and very quickly I kind of figured out this fractional ambassador system program, which is what a lot of these people are doing now with their consumer apps, where they're having a ton of creators post a ton of content at once, and it drives really, really great results. And that's what we do at Playkit. So I'm one of the co-founders at Playkit. We work with companies like Flow Health, Substack, with founders like Sam Altman and Sean Parker, and some other really, really cool brands out there to drive a ton of views for all of these consumer companies, all powered by UGC. So today we're going to be talking exactly about, what is UGC marketing? Who is it for? Why is this new style of distribution really starting to pop up? A couple of examples from our own case studies with companies that we work with on what success looks like and kind of the power behind UGC in total, how you can create this viral strategy, and exactly what you'll need to do to create the systems for you to go viral over and over again. I'll be asking the audience to pull up, or to share their own products, and I can kind of do my best to figure out, what are the viral formats that you guys can all try. And we'll be doing that in an audience Q&A as well. So really excited to kick off. Yeah, feel free to ask questions. My co-founder, Nick, is in the chats, and he will be, answering questions as he can, and I'll also be answering questions at the end. And then those who also stay at the end, I have a couple of resources that I'll be giving discounts to at the end. I have a growth kit handbook that goes exactly through, how do you create your viral strategy from start to finish. We have a software that is what we use to power our internal agency that we also offer externally, and I'll be giving discount codes to that as well. So stick around to see those things. But yeah, let's kick it off. What is UGC? So very different from traditional influencer or, like paid social. UGC is where we have these micro creators. They don't necessarily have to have a large following. They're not really basing it off of their community. Instead, they're making brand new TikTok accounts for every product they are promoting, and they are posting in really high volume. So at Playkit, what that looks like is these creators make new accounts and they're posting 3 times a week, 5 times a day. 5 times a day, 3 times a week each. Or no, I was wrong. 15 times a week each. And the point of that is it allows them to really test a lot of different content pieces, so we can understand, okay, does this messaging resonate with this audience? How about this type of product feature? It allows us to really survey the consumer audience as a whole with such a large volume of content that you can't really test with that much with paid or influencer, where you're taking bigger bets on smaller volume of content. Our average CPM across all of our content pieces lifetime is $3.80. So it's a really great way to one test, but then also to convert users at a pretty cheap rate. For example, this is one product we worked with. This video got about 40 million views and brought 300,000 downloads from this video alone. So the power in organic is just absolutely crazy. This had no ad spend at all. It actually broke this app's servers and we had to pause the campaign because of it, which is really, really kind of crazy to see the power of organic there. But yeah, you're just able to really understand one, like, okay, what messaging is resonating so much with my users? You're going to want to take all of that information, put it into your product, put it into your app store pages, and let the whole thing flow at once. It's kind of a great two-way conversation that develops with, your team and then all the users and people that you get to talk to in the comment sections. So why is UGC popping up right now? Why is it kind of this next channel of distribution that is starting to become really popular? I think the biggest reason is really consumers are starting to get so fatigued of ads and influencer content. They know what is an advertisement, and they know, when influencers have a brand deal and it just feels fake. It doesn't feel organic, and they just scroll right past it because it doesn't feel like the content is made for them. UGC solves that problem because the goal with this content is for it to feel so authentic and true that consumers oftentimes can't even sniff out that it's an advertisement. We want our creators to look like, the everyday consumer, like everybody else. We want it to feel like a friend is just providing a friendly recommendation. And that's really when we find that, the everyday consumer, the everyday TikTok user really latches onto that and converts at a much higher rate. With organic content too, when they don't realize it's an ad, they almost have this sense of discovery that they can't otherwise get from, a paid ad that feels like this content is continuing to be shoved down their throat. But if instead they come across this recommendation that they see online, they're more likely to share it with a friend. Oh my gosh, look what I found. You guys should try this out. You guys should check this out. It looks like a really, really interesting product, a really interesting tool. Additionally, UGC is great because there's so many different parts of the ecosystem all in UGC. With ads, you don't have that community aspect, but you have those huge comment sections when you're working with UGC. So you can really leverage those. You get your creators to respond to everything. You're building trust. You're building relationships in those, which not only help you convert, but it also helps you learn from your potential users. So then you can then go forward and, make tweaks to your product, make tweaks to your future messaging. And like I mentioned before, it really allows you to learn very quickly about your product as you're able to reach all of these hundreds of thousands and millions of people at once who would be target demos for your audience, for your product. UGC though is not right for everybody. I truly believe it's best for consumer. TikTok, you're often reaching like Gen Z consumer aged people. So if your product fits that target demographic, I think that's, the best way to do it. In terms of what else that works well for products, I would say things that are relatively simple for, users to adopt. I mean, I think that's just good advice for any product that you're building, but you're going to want to make sure that the messaging is very like simple, and TikTok is a top of funnel channel. So if your product needs like a long explanation or, a guide on how to use it, then this channel might not be right for you. But if it's something that you think could be widely adopted, then it would definitely give UGC a try. So I'm going to go through a couple of case studies. I'll also send you all, and Nick in the comments section, I'll have you send our case studies as well to our Twitter friends. But just so you guys can see what a lot of these videos look like that we do at Playkit, it's a good example to see like, how different these are from traditional influencers or even ad creative. A lot of times you'll see we don't even mention the app name in a lot of these videos. I'll go through, exactly how do we create these videos and how do we create the copy and the content strategy for everything. But just start there and you'll see it's a good reference point. But for example, this case study, Hunch is a dating app, a longtime partner of ours, really successful campaign. They got about 13,000 downloads in about a month of time. And you'll notice with this campaign, what we did was really lean on storytelling, really lean on community. So we're not creating these videos that feel like advertisements. We're not talking about the app name. We're instead talking about the pain point, and we're opening up the conversation for lots more people to join and share their own stories and experiences. And then that gives us an opportunity to respond to all of their questions and stories and pain points and whatnot in the comment section, all talking about the app. As we know, when people are on TikTok, yeah, they're scrolling through the videos, but oftentimes what happens, they'll pause on a video they like and they are just scrolling through the comment section. So it almost serves as another point of interaction with potential customers and potential users. Not only are you commanding their attention through the video, but you're also commanding their attention through the comment section. And I'll talk a little bit more on, how we can do that. But that's just one case study for you there. Let me switch. And then our second case study I wanted to talk about was Flow. They are a period tracker. Flow Health, they're like a pretty big period tracker. This was a really fun campaign because, similar to Hunch, how we converted a lot and drove a lot of views through the comment sections, this one we did it through a lot of top of funnel education. So when you are crafting content strategy about your product and your brand, think beyond the product. Think beyond, what is going to happen beyond how can I talk about like the pain point that this product solves? How can I talk about how this fits into your overall life? Because at the end of the day, people who are on TikTok don't really care about the newest feature of your product. They want to talk about and they want to hear about how it's going to solve a problem in their life. So that's really kind of how you should always be thinking about copy when you are creating and crafting this brand strategy and these viral video formats. So that was case studies. Going to be going over, the exact system that we use to get viral views, to repeatedly go viral and drive downloads. Couple of steps. First one, understanding your target audience. I'm going to be going through before you even post a video, before you even create your strategy, we need to understand our target audience so we understand who we are talking to and how best to reach them. We're going to talk about before you post a video, what do we need to do to your account to make sure it's reaching those right people, that reaches your target audience? How are we going to create a posting strategy that will go viral based off of what's already on social media? And then I'm going to teach you what success looks like and how we can iterate on what succeeds. First step, finding your target audience. So I talk to a lot of founders, and every day that's like my job, and I love it. It's super fun. But a lot of times people come to me and they are like, I'm like, okay, what's your ICP? Who are you reaching? And the amount of I don't knows I get is astounding to me. If you're creating a product, please know who you're creating for. Not only will that make it a better product, but when you go and you market it, it'll make the marketing all the more powerful. So this is a little exercise I like to do, and I'll share this more a little bit later, but I have these handbooks on my growth kit site. I'll send the link to at Nick to do the same thing. But I have these handbooks on my growth kit site that kind of walk through exactly how you can do these exercises to really break down, okay, who is my target audience? We want to name them, give them an age, what pain points they struggle with, what content they consume on social media, and how we can see, how we can really appease them in our marketing and in our, viral strategy. This is a really, really important part of the process before you even begin posting. So then when you do go and post, you know how to reach those people and you know who you're looking for and who you're speaking to. There we go. Once we have figured out our target audience and who we are speaking to, it's time to create our TikTok accounts. So I wanted to devote an entire slide to this because it's a little bit more complicated, or it requires a bit more of craft than you might think. You're going to want to make sure that you're not just like throwing random things up there, or you're not putting the brand name everywhere and things like that. So it does continue to feel as organic as possible. Really big tip here. I wanted to include an image of what this looks like because a lot of times I think people with an app or with a new brand will create a TikTok account and make the logo, or make the profile picture their brand logo instead of like a real face. But we want to remember that the goal with all of this content is it to feel organic, it to feel like a real user of the product just loves it so much and wants to share it with other people, that's really when we're going to find the most success. People don't care about following brands anymore. They care about people. They care about solving their own problems. People are selfish, so give them a reason to download the app beyond just, the great product feature that you just launched that frankly they don't care anything about unless you tell them exactly how it solves their problem. So how we structure the creation of these accounts, always add a name in there. Make sure that the profile picture is like a selfie or a picture of someone's face. And then in the bio, it should kind of look and sound like your target persona. So if you have a language learning app, for example, you're going to want to say something like learning Spanish one day at a time, or, make it sound what your target audience would sound like. So your goal here is to go back to that target audience, like work that you were doing, and say, okay, if this person made an account about my product, what would that account look like and what would they be posting? And that's the goal. Yes, this is being recorded. I'll post it afterwards. Yeah, and then for the usernames, don't include the brand name in the username. That always gives it away. And then when you have multiple creators, you'll see that all of a sudden all these accounts all look the same. And one, that makes it really easy for other brands in your niche to find your content and replicate it. But then two, it's easy for consumers to catch on and be like, oh, this is clearly just an ad. So you want it to feel, as organic as you can. Okay, so once we've created our accounts, now we go to warm them up. Again, this is all before we post on our first videos. TikTok is really cool because you're able to warm up your account and reach your right target audience very easily. For example, at Playkit, what we do is we have our creators spend a couple of days before they even post just spending time on the For You page. So they are doing things like going on the For You page. This is exactly what you need to do. Go to the For You page, think about your target audience. What are they searching up? What pain points do they have? How can you kind of replicate and step into that person and think about the type of content they would consume? Go to the For You page, you search these things up, you can filter it. And then I would always recommend like filtering it by recent posts. So like this month or this past week, whatever that looks like. And then go engage on those videos. Like, comment, save, share, repost, whatever. Good tip is you'll probably see videos that are really relevant to the pain point that your product fixes. Couple of things you can do here. One, drop comments on those videos. You can drop a comment just like any other person would, plugging your product. You could go a step further and you can respond to other top comments. And you can go even a further step once you have some videos up, respond to those comments as a reply video. So not only are you, creating your own account and engaging, but you're also just joining the community that your product will sit in. This really creates and takes advantage of the dynamic nature of organic content and organic UGC. If you can position yourself within the community and almost become a leader in that way, where you're replying to people, you are giving advice, you are showing up in all of these different places so people can continue to see you and you're continuing to push your product in that positive way. This is also a really great time to survey how other people and how other products in your niche are talking about it online, and how people are reacting to it. So like I mentioned earlier, I have this growth kit, and one of the exercises I do is I have people jot down, emojis, hashtag, phrases, everything like that they're noticing that the people in this niche are talking about or using. This is really important because, like I mentioned, you're going to want to be in the community, right? So you're going to want to use the things they use, talk like they talk. I remember when I was doing this exercise, and I think I'll show this example later, I was using emojis I thought I'd never used before, like the skull emoji or saying bruh, and just not being who I actually am. But it works so well because the people that you're targeting, if that's the way they engage and if that's the way they communicate, then that is really, really helpful and really, really powerful to use in your own language, because then you're able to match them and you don't seem like some imposter, but you seem like you're part of the community. Again, just offering that free and friendly advice and recommendations to what ends up being your content or your product. In this process as well, like I mentioned, make sure you're taking note of what your competitors are doing. This is a really good way to research and get inspiration for the next step, which is crafting your posting strategy. Take inspo, the UGC world, the organic world, even for people who aren't doing ads, just for regular creators, is full of copycats, and that's a angle in which you should definitely leverage. So take note of what's doing well for your competitors, and I'll share a little bit about, how can we recreate those things. This is the example I was talking about with like the skull emoji and bruh, and being like, I would literally never create a video like this, but it works and it converted really well. So the first step when you have warmed up your account and you've figured out who your target audience is, and you're like, okay, I'm ready to post. I have all this information. Where the heck do I start? The first thing you're going to want to do is recreate viral videos in your niche. So the first and easiest way to do this is recreate videos that your competitors do. I think this is a good starting point because it'll quickly give you an idea of, what works for your content, and just like starts you off by making content in the first place. As you do this, you'll learn that there's like a little bit of a learning curve when it comes to using TikTok and filming in the app, and how do I figure out what sound and hashtags to do. And this is a simple way to just like kickstart you. But to really bet on this like recreation technique, you're going to want to recreate videos in your niche that aren't plugging a product, but that are truly organic, and for you to find a way to plug your product in them. A lot of things I talk about now is that content should feel kind of like how Snapchat used to feel, where, you're hanging out with your friends. Maybe somebody is doing something funny. You whip out your phone, you post it to your Snapchat story, you post it to your private story. That's how TikTok content is starting to feel. And you'll find that you'll see these like meme-like content, or this lifestyle, or this education style really take hold as consumers are starting to figure out this like traditional videos that look like this are usually ads. So if you can replicate these organic videos and plug your product in an organic way, then you'll have a much higher success of going viral, but then also converting as well. This is a screenshot of our most viral videos from this past month. You'll notice here that none of them mention the name, except Coyote here, because they're playing a card game and it's relevant. And I'm going to go through a little bit like, how you can replicate this, but all of these videos feel like For You page native content. They feel like something a lifestyle creator would make, or just, a college student would make, because they want to and because it's fun for them, and not like the app. So how do these things possibly convert? Like I mentioned before, with UGC, the entire the video is not the whole part of the process here. It's one, I would even argue, small part of it. The video is what brings people in, and the comment is where you are converting people. So have your creators, or have yourself, reply to every single comment on the video. Sometimes this can be very overwhelming. I have had videos go viral when I was a creator in the past, and it's like literally TikTok does not let me comment anymore. And it's like, okay, I need to come back hours later, 24 hours later, and come back and reply to everything. But it's really important you do this. One, because you have hundreds, if not thousands, of people asking questions and curious about it. It's a wonderful opportunity for you to be there and show up with your product. Even if they don't download, you'll often get feedback on the product itself or the messaging itself, which is really valuable learning. And then additionally, again, it serves as that like plate almost, as viewers who maybe they're not even commenting scroll through the comment sections. They see all these recommendations about the product. You're just raving about it. And that really helps them with conversion as well. What we do at Playkit, which is really fun, is we'll do is comment bounties, where we have about 200 creators we work with. Anytime we get a video with over 50K views, we'll send that video to all 200 of our creators, and they will spam the comment section with things like, oh my gosh, how do I download this? Or I really need this app. I can't believe I haven't had this before. I'm sending this to my sister. I'm sending this to my mom. And that makes everybody else who's a viewer of the video organically be like, oh, all these people are really interested about this product. I should definitely check it out as well. And that can be a really powerful tool that then makes people, download and convert once again. Okay, so we have views, we have comments. How do I know if it's working? How do I know if, this video I posted or this video I posted is doing well? What do I know is actually converting? So obviously you guys on the back end have like App Store Connect or Superwall or Revenue Cat or whatever it is. And you can see, great, my users are going up. People are actually paying. But how do I know which video it's coming from? First line of defense, I would say, is views. If a video has 100 views and no comments, it's probably not doing much for you. But if you have a couple viral videos and you're trying to understand, okay, what is actually moving the needle here, the best thing to look at are those comment sections. This is a screenshot of Tracker. What we do at Playkit, we meet with our clients every single week and we go through this chart and we say, okay, great, we had this viral spike here. Did it actually lead to any downloads? Did it lead to any web traffic? Did you see any spikes on your end? That way, when you are iterating, which I'll go through in a second, on your content, you not only are you iterating based off of what you're learning from your views, but you're also iterating based off of what you're learning from your downloads and your conversion, because at the end of the day, that's the most important part. So when you're talking to your creators or you're talking to your team about, how do we actually know this is working? Because the tricky thing with organic is you can't see direct attribution. You can survey the comment section. I will drop a link here to UGC Tracker. This is what we have built internally for us to use. And this powers our agency, and we also offer it externally. Okay, so when you started posting, you have your viral content strategy, you understand your target audience, you are replying to comments. What should this sprint of UGC look like? A lot of people, I think I actually had a call the other day and somebody's like, okay, what if we don't see anything in the first 2 weeks? Or how often do, videos not go viral? And I think there's a big misconception about, what UGC is versus like influencer and paid, where when you bet on influencer, you're like, okay, I have like 2 times of virality here. I paid for 2 posts. These things better work. When you do UGC, you're paying for, for example, at Playkit, in 1 month, you get 1,200 pieces of content, 1,200 posts, 1,200 times to go viral. It's a very different game where those 1,200 posts are not just things we're throwing at the wall, but they're all things that we use to learn and to iterate on the content. So it's a much different game. UGC, you're really trying to learn and figure out, okay, how can I tweak my messaging? How can I tweak my product? It's a great sandbox for, figuring out what is the best way I could talk to my potential users. This is what we have found in Playkit is the typical like week 1 through 5, I guess like schedule, if you want to call it that, for performance expectations. So week 1, you're gonna, this graph is like a real example from a real campaign, which I think is pretty standard. So week 1, you're going to be seeing your views are in the thousands. You might feel discouraged. You're like, nothing's working. But what you should be doing in this first week is really, really digging into, okay, did I get a comment on this video? What did this person say? What video got a little bit more traction? And really lean into that and really analyze how people are reacting to it and how people are listening to these things, because that will help you iterate your content going forward. Week 2, you'll be getting your first, what app is that? Or how can I do this comments? And that is a really good signal that you're onto something. From there, you might just need to tweak the hook or something like that to help it go a little bit more viral. Week 3, that's when you'll probably get your first breakout video. So those first 2 weeks, like us, if you were working with somebody like us, in those first 2 weeks, you'd have 300 pieces of content going out already. Week 3, you should by then get your first breakout video. So you have a ton of data points to go off of to learn from. And from there, you're going to be able to, craft your content in a way that is super data driven, that will allow you to have a lot of a higher chance of success to get that first breakout video. At Playkit, we consider breakout video to be anything with 10K plus views. Week 4, you're like, okay, I got my thing, I got my breakout video. Now I know what I need to do. I'll talk a little bit about it next on, how do we iterate once we see things are starting to catch up and starting to get legs. But week 4, you're like, okay, I got my breakout videos. I'm starting to see traction. And week 5 is when you get that first viral video. So, 500K views, a million views, 100K views, things like that. From there, you'll notice that you kind of have this new normal. So in the beginning, your video views were pretty low. You go viral and you have an understanding of what really works. You're still not going to go viral every single day you post. That's just not how organic content works, unfortunately. But you're going to have this new normal where most of your videos will kind of have a higher average because you have an understanding of what works, and it's much more easy to leverage those learnings in your new content strategy. So at Playkit, what we do, we tell our creators exactly what to post, and we don't just let them off, to the races and figure it out for themselves. We look at every single video before they post it. So we're checking for quality. We're making sure it aligns with our new strategy. And every single week, we are analyzing the content and understanding, okay, how can we change our hooks? How can we change our messaging based off of these learnings? So every week, our creators get a whole new handbook, a whole new strategy that they then follow based off of those learnings. So it's a really dynamic process. It's not something you want to sit with. It's something you want to change every week or every couple of days even to have the highest amount of success. That being said, how do we iterate? So you have had a viral video or you're starting to get a sense of, what works and what doesn't. A lot of people are like, I don't want to just keep posting, the same content or similar content, but if it's working, don't be afraid to repeat it. Repeat the same concept, repeat very similar wording multiple times, because if you found what works, keep going, keep using it. TikTok is a top of funnel channel, like I said before, which means that new people will always be seeing your content, which is really the goal. You're going to be wanting to drive downloads. You're going to be wanting to drive users. So if you found messaging that brings these new people in, continue to leverage that. I have an example here of like what that iteration process looks like, and you'll notice that it really is just changing the wording here and there. And of course, there's more data to analyze when it comes to the comment section and how other people are responding to this and things like that. But this is like a great example of, how you can iterate based off of a viral format or a viral piece of content. And it really does look the same. And you can kind of just keep reusing it until it stops working. And then you go through that testing process again of figuring out what works, really using that, iterating on it, and then figuring out what works again. What you should also be doing anytime you have a viral video, like I said, respond to comments. Do reply videos to some of the top comments that more directly plug the app. We do this a lot, and it works really, really well again for conversion because people are already interested in you, and then they are going back to learn more from you on, how you solve this pain point, how you did this thing. And if you talk about the app in a positive way, you'll find that you'll get a lot of conversion from it. And those videos are great because typically a video like that wouldn't go viral, but because it's like coming off of the viral momentum from before, then it has a really, really great chance to get some really good views and then some really good conversion. Okay, so we have had our success with our videos. We're like, okay, great. I have a couple of video formats that work. I'm going viral. Now I really just need help scaling because managing a ton of creators is a lot of work. Looking at videos every single day, reviewing videos every single day, responding to all these comments is a lot of work. I want to scale. I want to hire more creators. I want to work with a partner to help me manage all of this. When should I do that? I often tell clients that it's best to work with Playkit. It's best to work with an agency partner when you have validated that this channel works well for you yourself. So a couple of different things you can kind of check off is you have a couple of different repeatable viral hooks or formats that have each hit virality a couple of times. You're hitting 10K plus views at least once a week. You have at least one creator posting 15 times a week. Your comment sections clearly show interest in the product, and your videos are driving conversion. I would make sure you have all these things before you go to a scale partner or before you hire more than a couple of creators, because you're really going to want to be doing that 0 to 1 work yourself in the beginning because it is a lot of intensive time and energy that goes into it. But at the end of the day, it's very worth it because it can pay off tremendously. Okay, couple FAQs. Again, like I mentioned, and we made it to the discount code. Yay. Like I mentioned, I have this growth kit and UGC tracker that are really great resources for all these things that our people are looking for. So little code there, Playkit 222. But questions I often get for people just starting out or just starting out with their creators is one, how often do I post? I would say 3 times a day per account, wait 2 hours between each post. I think this is a really good number because it's not too overwhelming, but it allows you to get enough data points that you'll have a good understanding of, okay, how do I move forward and what is working and what is not? How long should videos be? Again, remember, we're reaching people who don't have a long attention span. So you're really going to want to try and stop them in their tracks when they are in that doom scroll and that death scroll. And it should only be a couple of seconds, 8 to 10 seconds long. If it's a talking video, like 30 to 60 seconds, but don't drag on forever because people are not going to stay around for that. How much should I pay creators? So creators typically earn $125 to $175 a week before bonuses. I really recommend a flat rate instead of a CPM based pay structure for creators for a couple of reasons. I think that's important because it shows to the creators that you are investing in them. And when you have people on your team who are happy, the content, the engagement, everything will be much higher quality. So show your creators that you're investing in them, give them that flat rate. And then I also recommend a bonus structure. Weekly pay is also a really good idea. I think this allows flexibility both from the creator and the brand standpoint, where if you have to swap a creator off, you only at least had to test with them for 5 days. And then if they get sick or have finals or whatever it is, they also have that flexibility themselves. This is what we do at Playkit. I've been doing this for a year and find a lot of success in this. Tools to manage creators. Running a creator program is exhausting. It's a lot of work to manage all these people. We built out Tracker because we couldn't do Google Sheets anymore, and I couldn't be an iMessage and track TikTok videos manually. So another good discount code for this is growth for 15% off for the first 3 months. And this is like a really powerful tool that we use not only to track our engagement and our analytics and everything, but then also to manage all these different creators. This tells us, has this person posted today? Who do I need to reach out to and who do I need to ping? Okay, those are my slides. Now I am happy to answer any questions. I also would love to, if anybody wants to share a little blurb on their product, I'm happy to kind of just spitball some viral ideas. So we'll open up the comment section and I'm happy to answer everything. Okay. What is the UGC to no UGC app growth ratio? I did Facebook ads only so far, not good so far. Not sure what you mean personally by UGC to no UGC app growth. Really would have to look at your ads. So I'll come back to that. Our creators are all based in the US. Also for like TikTok and Twitter and StreamYard people, there's 2 different streams happening right now. So I'm looking at comments that I could see. You might not see all the comments, but I will say them. Oh, I think I can do this. Okay. What markets are your creators in? I'm from the UK. All of our creators are based in the US. So if you want to launch in the US, I think that's a great idea. If you're an app that might need a longer explainer, what would you recommend? I think influencer is great for this. I'm like kind of bearish on influencer right now, but this is one of the things where I think it makes a lot of sense. If you have like a good influencer partner, then you can leverage them and leverage their community who will stick around for a video of them talking or just like continuing to share, their ideas and their experience with the product. So that's something I'd play with, but then also like founder-led content where you're talking about why did you build this product? How does it work? People really enjoy that as well. How do you find creators? Couple of options here. SideShift is a great option. Home from College. We also do a lot of like founder-led content too. This helps really, really well. Like just post a TikTok about it, talk about your product, talk about who you're looking for. I do this all the time and I get hundreds of people interested. I honestly think this is the best way because then you're finding people who are super interested specifically about your product. What percentage of videos that you post are about the product versus vibes about the product space? All videos should be about the product. Don't waste your time posting about other stuff, because people aren't going to scroll through your account. They're just looking at the video that comes up on their For You page. So it should all be centered around your product. Is there a limit to where UGC can be your primary growth channel? Yeah, I mean, obviously, like UGC is my main gig here at Playkit, and I haven't had a ton of experience doing the full funnel, but I think at a certain point, you definitely want to pull all the growth levers. I think going from 0 to 1, UGC is a great option, because you're also able to learn so much, right, about your product and about how users respond to it and how you need to tweak your product. But then at some point, it's really powerful to turn on the ad the ad engine as well. Whether that is you put some paid spend behind really powerful UGC, you actually create true paid ad content, post that on Meta and things like that. But I think there's definitely a point when you're like, okay, I'm ready to hit the next level, and you should turn on ads as well. They're all just tools, right, for growth. And how can you just start, or how can you leverage them all? What is the recommended budget to start? And you want to target the US? So yeah, I'd hire some US creators. Think about a 3-month test is what I usually recommend. I think that's a good amount of time to really give it a good shot. So figure out how many creators you want to get, how much you would pay them, save kind of budget, not only their flat rate, but then also those bonuses. Of course, you can calculate in, we see typically a 1% view to download conversion rate. So if you think about the revenue that would generate based off of your guys' metrics in your app, then that's kind of how I would think about those things. Yeah, just said this, but 1% conversion rate from views to downloads. Okay, fun. Let's do a brainstorm for this. Building an AI journal for anxiety. I would look at Tolan. They are a great example of content for AI journal, AI companion apps. They have a little monster guy that's on the screen, and they did a fun thing where they show him and they just have creators talking. But I think the story time element for things journaling and for mental health is really powerful, because again, you'll get other people to share their experiences in the comment sections, and then you can then plug your product. So if you again look at those case studies, I can send the link again. I think Hunch is on here, and look at how we did that storytelling with the dating app world, and you could do something very similar with anxiety and mental health. Do you think ad type content? I don't think it's going to be shadow banned by the algorithm, because it's not violating the algorithm, but I think that consumers will not want to consume it because they don't want to see ads. They want to see organic content. So I would recommend, like I said before, make your content feel as organic as possible. When you're crafting your strategy, make it so that it feels organic, and it feels how exactly something that would just come up on your For You page natively, and not like an advertisement. Do you suppress comments that say, yeah, I would delete these, honestly. Again, do everything you can to control the comment section and to control the ecosystem. So you can have power over that by deleting certain comments for sure. Definitely no specific recommendation here, but I feel 5 to 7 is usually a good number. Yeah, I think it's the same as, other types of content. Look at founders around you. Just take other people as inspiration. You can also just share your story as to why you're building. It doesn't have to be super in-depth content, but it could be, just why do I start this? It could be just a long text over a video of your face. Things like that are really powerful. So FTC guidelines, and I have this in that growth kit thing as well. You should do this, but it's not. They're guidelines, not rules, right? So what we do is put hashtag brand name partner in the video itself, or in the bio of the creator. So you can do those things. A lot of times when I talk to startup founders, they don't really care about this, but that's what we do at Playkit. So technically, I guess we'd recommend that. Okay. Does TikTok penalize you if you've gone viral? I would say no. It just definitely can be difficult to go viral again if you've, like, peaked, but what I would say is continue to just keep iterating, like I mentioned, um, from those, like, viral learnings, if that makes sense. A prediction app, fun. Yeah, I think skits, real life examples are like the best, ways to do that. If you can put in like, I don't know, what people in the everyday life would predict, you could do a lot of like friend content. Right now, one of my goals is to hire like groups of friends as creators because I think again that makes content feel so much more organic. So if you could find something similar, again, you could just post a TikTok about it to source people. That could be really fun. Um, okay. I would say yes. Again, really just depends. But I would say for the most part, slideshows definitely convert less just because they're a little bit more convoluted, especially those like AI slideshows where it's like, I met my twin sister at Coachella, and then we found out that we're twins because we were long lost twins, and one of us looked older, and that was because this other one used a face cream. It's like there's just no way that's going to convert. So if you do it in a really directed way, it could convert, but not like that, like really fluffy stuff that a lot of people are saying now. Um, Love this. That's super fun. Yeah, I think you could do a lot of again like real time like show people's text messages of maybe a girl's in her luteal phase and her boyfriend is buying her flowers or chocolate or something like that, and it's like you're showing these texts and then you're showing the the app itself. I think you could also do a lot of content from the partner perspective where it's like, oh my god, I'm so thankful for this app because now I'm able to see my partner has these symptoms and is feeling this way, and I want to help with this. And I think that could be really fun too because the goal could be obviously to get both sides of the partnership there. Um, okay. What are my thoughts on AI UGC? Thank you for asking me. I would say that I think it could be a tool right now. I don't think that AI, like character UGC, like video UGC content, is there right now in terms of like true organic success. But what I do truly believe is, I mean, tech is crazy, so it'll probably get there. But what won't ever be replaced is the need for like real human strategy, right? Where the internet is like a big, massive like community. And to succeed on it, you need to be in that community. You need to get the inside joke. You need to like be there in order for people to listen to you and treat you with like as somebody in the community and not as an imposter. And I don't think UG or AI will be able to do that. So even if we start to use AI for like the actual visual content, what will always need to be there is the person behind the scenes crafting the content strategy. Um, Um, yeah, I think TikTok serves as a really great testing platform. Instagram is like a great place to cross post. I think Instagram is best for brand building. So if you have like a brand page, I would spend time on that on Instagram. TikTok really rewards like new accounts. It's easier to target your target audience. You're able to then just like test a lot more because you can post a lot more. So you'll learn very quickly what's working and what's not. I always just recommend like cross posting viral content from TikTok to Instagram just for more shots on goals. Um, yeah, we post on TikTok and Instagram. Building a manifestation app. That's super exciting. Congrats. Yeah, I think you could do a lot of fun things too, like talking videos where people are actually manifesting. Um, People are actually like doing funny things, whether it's like, okay, it's a full moon, I'm gonna go drink my moon water, or I'm manifesting that, my ex-boyfriend from 7 years ago texts me. Like, you could do funny story time things like that, again, to bring people into like the real use cases of the app. What have you seen are the best content formats? Tone. Okay, here's my like true advice. I think a lot of people get really stuck up on the like, okay, what's the best format? What's the best structure? Do I need content buckets? How often should I post? Blah blah blah, and like really get caught up in the logistics of it all. Forget about it. Literally just forget about it. Just start posting. The best content will be the content that's easiest for you to create and the most fun for you to create. Don't worry about anything else, because you're going to want to show up as your authentic self, and you're going to also want to show up and keep showing up, and you're not going to do that if you're like trying to be somebody else or trying to follow a certain thing. Like, just do the thing. I get these questions all the time, and it's like, I understand because I think the same way, but just go, just do the thing, and you'll see what works best for you. And you can go from there. So just test it, try both, and see what you enjoy more. And then you can kind of go from there. Would want to understand how it's gamified, but I think you could do a lot of story time telling again of like people actually why they use the product and how. And I think that is like the best way to show any product. So yeah, I'd be curious on like how it's gamified, but show like the gaming part, show or talk about why this is better than others. If it's geared towards people who are just starting to get into like religion and spirituality, why this app like helps that. So I like picture for you like lots of people like sitting in the car and doing like a story time, talking about it, sharing it with their friends, or maybe they're in the car and somebody else is playing on their phone. They're like peering over their shoulder. Again, like real life in the moment type of things. Oops. Wait, sorry, it's tweaking out. Can you get him recording this? Yeah, I will post this. It'll live on Twitter. I'll also post it on our Playkit Substack, which you can find on our Playkit website. I would say this depends on the type of product you have. If you have something that's like inherently viral, whether maybe you have like a swiping UI or a scanning feature or like a character, I think yes. Otherwise, in most cases, I would say no. Lean more again on like just pain point talking in community there, where instead you can kind of steer the comment section and steer the conversation in a way that is centered around your product. We just repost on Instagram, but I don't think it's a bad bet just to, try. And there's plenty of services out there now that also allow you to repost. Okay. Nick, are you building another app, or are you just sharing people's comments? Okay, building Misfits app for users to run offline clubs. Fun. Yeah, I think fun. I think like show people in these offline meetups, right? So like you can use, if you don't want to like make a whole meetup or you don't want to go to somewhere and film content, use tools out there. Like Sora is a great tool, you can use that to create content, and like stuff like that actually really works. Or pay people who are going to events to be like, oh my God, I'm so glad I found this on Misfits, things like that, that actually are show people again doing the thing that you want them to do because of your product. Yeah, I think we do this a lot when we launch our own products. You can do it the same way as like an app, right? Where it's like, especially if you're doing founder-led content, like, oh my gosh, I am so excited to build this, whatever, or I'm building this for the girlies, that kind of vibe. And then just direct people to a waitlist, get a fun URL, and then you could just like plug that in the comment section. It's the same way in which you would for an app. Yeah, I mean, I think it's very similar, right? Like when you have creators, especially if you have creators posting who are based in the UK, for example, it's much more likely that their content will also reach other people in the UK. So it's the same thing. Most of the time when things go viral, it's still relatively localized. Like sometimes we'll go randomly viral in like the Philippines or something, but for the most part, like all of our creators are US based. So most of our views are in the US. If your creators are based in the UK, most of your views will be in the UK as well. Slideshows. Yeah, I think slideshows can be great. It's like we do those too. I would say video converts the best, but slideshows can be good too. Again, it depends on your product. I think slideshows, what works well is when there's like multiple recommendations in a slideshow, which sometimes then your product could eventually get lost, or if most of it is like storytelling, which again like might divulge from converting to the product. Um, but yeah, I think slideshows work too. The conversion rate is a little bit lower, I would say. Thank you so much, Hunter. Appreciate you. Hi Isabella. Hope you're doing well. Is there such a thing as posting too many times per day on TikTok? I would say like 5 times max, max, max. For sure. Any penalty to running multiple accounts from the same phone? I would say you could have multiple accounts on the same phone. Like I used to do this. Um, Although what I would do is like before, like say you post, like scroll on the For You page for a couple minutes before you just go like log out and switch to your other account. Like I'd almost like let your video sit for like 30 minutes, an hour before then you go to your other account to post. I don't know why, but I feel like that sometimes is like sus to me. Sorry, that's somebody answering someone else. How do you think about engaging older demos? Yeah, we have a group of like stay-at-home moms in Playkit too, and content works really well. Everybody scrolls on TikTok, so it's just a matter of finding like older creators. You're gonna want your creators to look the same as the people that you're trying to reach. So yeah, just find older creators. Sometimes it's a little bit harder to brief them because they're not as TikTok native, but you'll just have to give that like a little bit of love there, and it usually really works. Yeah, I think it's super important to like properly warm up your account. Um, I talked about this a little bit earlier in the webinar, and I'll share the full video recording later on. But this is like how you find your target audience. This is how you make sure your videos are reaching the right people. So go on the For You page, search up key terms, search up pain points, search up questions, and really engage with that content. Yes, absolutely, all the time. I think this is like a really, really powerful tool to use. Like one of the best ways to use UGC because you're able to get that real time feedback from potential users. Don't have like numbers to say like how it impacts conversion, but I think it's like just another form of talking to your users, but instead it's like organically on socials. Um, that is more B2B. So I would say not so much in the, I mean, I guess if it's like fintech consumer, you should look at Autopilot, Chris Joseph's thing. That would be a good thing for you. Okay. Sorry, TikTok native means like people who are like natively and on TikTok all the time, like they live on TikTok, they consume TikTok all the time, so they understand what goes well, what would do well and what wouldn't do well. So cute. That sounds awesome. I love that. I mean, I think you could do so much like sunset content. You could do so much like, oh my gosh, I'm connecting with the world again, or this is like the best part of my day, like things like that. Again, think about like when I'm crafting strategy, I often just continue to ask myself the question of why. It's like, okay, why would somebody use this app? Oh, because they could share a picture of the sunset. Why would somebody want to do that? Oh, because the sunset's like a beautiful thing that makes them happy. Why? And you'll get to that like root emotion or root feeling that you can then use in like your content strategy as well. Okay, I'm gonna do like 2 more questions. I think you should do separate pages for each target audience. That way your like account is warmed up properly for each target audience, if that makes sense. And then when you post, you're posting to the right people for each ICP. Yeah. Okay. I don't have any more questions unless this thing's not loading. But thanks, guys. Good work. I will share this recording on all of our platforms. So like whatever, LinkedIn, Twitter, our Playkit stuff. Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for coming. Hope you enjoyed. See y'all later. How do I end it? Okay.